Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sim Racing Online today for the live broadcast of Round 4 of the World Series Championship, the year-long quest for the Cup, brought to you by Liberty Footwear, a custom-built boot, shoe, whatever you need, built in America. Jump online, go to their website, check it out. You can give them your size, tell them what you want. They will make you a custom pair of boots or shoes that are stylish, comfortable, built for performance and safety for hiking, everyday wear, custom fit boots, handcrafted in Michigan, USA. They are sponsoring these broadcasts, so give them a holler if anything, and make sure to tell them that Randy Marek sent you. He is currently racing today too, so we will see Randy on track. And just drop in and say hi and tell him you saw him here on Sim Racing Online. All right, cool. So, welcome everybody. I am Rob Milliken with my buddy Neil Wood. It's the Woody and Pro Show. Here we go. We are at round 4. Woody, tell us a little bit about this track.
Oh gosh, welcome back everybody. We are now in Japan. After our last round 2 weeks ago in Spain, the Titan Twisty Ascari Ronda, we are now at Sportsland, Sugo, quite a famous circuit for, I believe, super formulas and the like. It's a very tight, twisty circuit. The first sector is going to be very difficult for at least the Porsches today, so our Class 1 drivers. But 12 turns, about 3.7 kilometers. As I say, it's run the Super GTs and the Super Formulas, and we're using the 1987 layout, which ran until, I believe, 2020. It's probably had some slight changes. Things to watch out for are the pit exit. We may have pit stops, we may not, but there is a big long back straight where passing is going to be very, very difficult. So tight and twisty first sector, but the last part of the circuit could be very interesting with some drafting opportunities on the back straight and the main straight.
Interesting. Yeah, this is going to be a tough course for today. So let's have a look at these scores. The total so far for the World Series. In fact, this is the last round. We're going to end this the 2025 World Series. You can see Philip Pichler is up there from Team Solitude with 595 points, just ahead of Nick Westy for Black Cat Motorsports with that 577. You can see John Vandergeest from Gear back with the 550s, and then 504 for Ed Jones. Those are the top 4, and you can see as they go down in order there, the top 10. On the individuals class side, we're going to look at the Class 2 standings here. You can see Bill Brown is leading that with Ben Sumner's right behind him here, almost 18 points behind. We've got 100 points for Bill, 88 for Ben, and Simon Barnes down there in third with 87, tied with Gilles, one of our artists, De Silva, does some of these great paint jobs for us. And you can see down the list there some of the other partakers. You can see John Vandergeest down there in 7th. This will be, I believe, is this the second or third round in the change of cars. So he is now in the Class 2 class. Then looking at the Class 1 standings, you can see that Bjorn Hagman and Lars Hagman, the two brothers from Twin Speed, are leading this championship. 102 points and 97 for Lars in second, with Nick Westy right there on their tails at 95. So Philip Pichler, 89. The championship is going to be decided, I think, between these 3 or 4 drivers right here, with Tony Telvitier, who's missed a few races but still manages to be within reach there at 80 points. So there you have the situation for today. Tell us a little bit about the weather, Neil. Do you know what's going on?
So the weather is going to be very interesting for these drivers because it's going to start off very warm, but it's going to get coldy and cloudy towards the end. We aren't expecting any rain, as you can see from the overlay there, but clear and sunny to start off with, and it's going to end up at as low as 22 degrees Celsius at the end of the race. So cloud cover going to come over. The light's going to change a little, which might make things a bit interesting. So how are these cars going to deal with colder weather on pretty worn tyres? Because we're not really expecting any pit stops at all. They're going to go 60 minutes from start to finish, and hopefully we don't have any red flags this time.
Interesting. I just got news from the news center that your teammate Ben has hurt his back, and he is going to try and race today, but we're going to see how long he can last. So that just came over the hot wire on the live chat. So if anybody wants to jump in, and I want to say hi to everybody. We're broadcasting around the world here from Sim Racing Online in 1440p. So tune on in and crank it up and enjoy the race with us today. I want to talk about these cars really quick. So the Porsche, Woody, what can you tell us about that?
So we're using for Class 1, it's the Porsche 91K. The 91K is a car that we used for endurance between 1970 and 1971. It's a very distinctive silhouette, if you will. You'll probably notice it from the Golf liveried Le Mans type car, but built in West Germany, of course, a two-door coupe, rear engine, rear-wheel drive, as you would expect, and a 4.5 to 5 litre flat 12 in the back. It does have 4 to 5 speed manual gearbox, and it's only curb weight of 820 kilos, so pretty light for this piece of machinery. So a big power in the back. Got to be careful with that right foot.
Yeah. It is basically a flying wing, or a rolling wing, as you say. So now the Class 2 cars, these GT cars, we have a plethora of cars here.
Yeah, so we got several cars in for our GT revival class, or the Class 2s on track. I'm just looking at the cars that we do have on track. There seems to be some popular choices. Aston Martin seems to be one of them. Maybe it handles, or maybe just everybody wants to be James Bond. I don't know. So Aston Martin seems to be a popular choice. We do have John Van der Geest that's moved to the Class 2s, who's in the Shelby Cobra. A nice V8 in the back of that car, so nice sounding car. But the Corvette C2, we've got a couple of drivers in the Corvette C2, and you'll notice the Corvette C2 just when it goes past by the sound. It's a lovely engine note. And the last couple of cars we do have on track are the Ferraris. So there's the two drivers in the Ferrari GTOs. So a good range of cars that are trying to mimic the class of cars that take part in the Goodwood Revival in the UK every year.
Good stuff. All right, well, with that stuff out of the way, let's get a look at some of the track action as we go. Let me see here if we can jump to one of the drivers. Let's take a look at Nick Westy. Oh, he's in the pits. We're going to go to Philip Pichler in the points. You can see him getting sideways as we tune in that Porsche, trying to tame that beast. Get a good look at what goes on here at Sugo. It seems to me this is going to be a lot of twisting and turning fights. I'm wondering how the rubber's going to hold up as these guys battle their way around this course here. Arigato, I can say. Let's go.
Yeah, we did see a few people complaining about tire wear at Ascari Ronda, and this track is less twisty, but they are leaving it all out there, aren't they? It's fully sideways in these Porsches.
Yeah.
But it's going to be spectacular watching.
Right. Here is the start of a lap. This is the turn one. Heading into this sector. This is going to be the slowest sector, I believe. So we'll watch him behind the wheel here. And these really tight turns right in the beginning as they get to the beginning at the bottom of the hill here. They're going to climb up. I believe this is fourth corner to the S curve right here, and then up to High Point Corner, so rightfully named by our friends, our Japanese friends here, into Rainbow Corner here, which is a very colorful name, but see the meaning behind that. Down this back straight, heading into what they call Horseback Corner. A little bit of a kink, and then the hard right-hander. Just a faster section of the track, but really tough right here. You really got to be on the car. This is where he got sideways last time. You can see he just saved it there with some skillful driving. Then into this little giant U kind of section as he's gone off a bit. I'm telling you, this is tough to navigate down here. And he's heading into what they call 110R corner, which is maybe that's the radius, Neil. I don't know. 110, but it's an endless right-hander that just never goes away until you get to the top here, and then it's going to be all the way up the hill to the start finish. So there you have one lap at Sugo in the Porsche. The Protos now, as you see, Gilles de Silva here in his beautifully painted Liberty footwear. Austin Martin is Bond. It's Gilles Bond. A little bit slower pace for these guys. Probably a little more tolerable, I would say, for the driving experience. They don't have quite that horsepower, but they also don't have the downforce, so they're going to have to watch themselves as well. As you see Gilles getting around that big 110R coming up the hill. So, look at that. You see the speed difference between the Porsche and that beautiful wood grain steering wheel with the glistening gauges. R-Factor 2. Although the sim is very old, it's really got some cool stuff, and there's really, you know, the grandfather to the sims that we have today. Pretty good stuff there. So we are just seconds away from qualifying, and in that, there we go. You can see as the server is resetting now. So we're going to get ourselves set for the qualification session. We have 15 minutes for the guys to get their best laps in and try and set up the grid for today's action. So let's see, first out, I see Gilles pulling out there too, right away. Hope these guys give each other room. It's not private quali, so there will be some tightness here. As we see Tony Talvitier in that Porsche rolling himself out. I think they're waiting for the lights to turn green, actually. There we go. All right, they are out. And that looks like there's Lars Hagman. Nick Westie's right in front of him in that blue Porsche. So Westie's in the blue. Talvitier is in the red and white. Costas is also in that British colored red, white, and blue. And I think that's Lars Hagman in the yellow. Fischler's sitting it out for a minute here. All right, well, let's take an onboard here with Nick Westie. These guys are on the outlap, so there's not going to be any pushing. They're probably just settling themselves in. As you can see, our flag man there. This is an old track, got limited camera views, but it should be good enough. Makes his way through this kind of a elbow section here, heading into that 110 radius. Through the trees and up the hill, so he's going to start his first lap here as he's getting on the gas early. You can see watch some wheel work as he heads into turn one. It's going to be hard on the brakes. Navigate this section here. It's just so tricky.
If you remember last round at Ascari Ronda, Nick Westie was one of the pace setters, but I think unfortunately there was too much sideways action and he burnt his tyres up quite quickly. He had to do that at Paul Ricard as well, but it's very difficult, and it's probably going to be very difficult to follow other cars here unless you can keep behind down this back straight that we're heading down to now. Thank you, Mr. Matt Flagman. But heading down to what is a really sharp stopping point into two right angle turns, as we see. I believe that was Pichler having a little bit of an off there, but coming into the final section of the lap, you got two left-handed turns, and one of them heads downhill towards what is the called final corner, like a spoon car. What was it, 110R? It is so bumpy. So trying to keep it pinned, and you see the tyres are already they're already screaming. So he's coming across the line for his first lap.
Here we go. Here's a time to beat. And then right behind him is Bjorn. And see, Bjorn is purple, and Bjorn just jumps right on top of him. And his brother, Talvitier, as we know, the Flying Flynn. He is not to be counted out. The races he does make it in, it's balls to the walls. It's all or nothing for Talvitier. He's one of my favorite drivers in sim racing online. He really goes to town when he puts the hammer down. So there you see some times 124. Let's check in on the GT. Looks like Phil Brown is purple and purple. He'll be setting his first lap here. First, are all going to be purple as he hits into that 110R in that Austin. So Smythe has jumped up above the Hagerman brothers in the Porsche class. Just a side note here is we're going to watch the first time come across for the GTs in that Austin. And there it is, a 143-1, and Da Silva just about a couple seconds behind him. Phil Brown, however, is going to jump them both and put himself right up there with a 141. So Vanderke's coming in second. Yeah, it's a 143, a few seconds off the pace. And across the line now is George Emery. I believe is this George's first or second race, Woody? I haven't seen him in the last one.
This is George's second race. I believe he was with us for either rounds 1 or 2, but welcome back to George, a newcomer to Sim Racing Online.
Good deal. Yep, welcome all the new guys. So Pichler is no lap yet. Here he is. He's on his time lap again. He started a new lap after his lap 1 incident. He's currently not had a time yet for the P2s.
Oh, we have a fire. There's a car on fire.
What the heavens to Betsy? Was it Da Silva? Yes.
It looks like an Aston Martin.
Get out the hot dogs. It's our first car review of the day. So luckily it's just in quali, and Gilles can get his pit crew to put that fire out and get his car back together for the race itself. So, wow. That's very interesting to me, Woody. How would a GP2 class car catch on fire? Did he perhaps have his radiator way down for quali?
Possibly. There might have been a few warnings for that with smoke coming out the back, but I just saw a car coming into view completely engulfed in flame. It may have been more to do with maybe a missed downshift or a missed upshift, because these gearboxes are pretty fragile.
Good night. So Pichler's getting into a collision there. Oh, both of them right in pit lane. Was that in the red and white? Who was that? Was that Freddie? No. Marek's in his corn-fed Porsche. Could have been LaBelle. Oh, LaBelle's out there. So whoever that was in the red, maybe it was Costas. Nope, he's just not coming in. Anyway, there was a collision right at pit lane. So Philip Pichler having nothing but bad luck so far on this qualification session. So hope to him to get a little bit better as we check with John Vandergeest. Look at this paint job. Holy smokes. The Green Hornet or the Hulk, I can't tell which one it is, but it's beautiful. Look at that baby. I would assume that Gilles Da Silva is the artist responsible for this car. Look at that green chrome finish. That is something else. Oh, and alongside it, there goes. That looks like the corn-fed machine of Randy Marek. It just zipped by him there as Jean puts in yet another lap. But Robin Taylor, who has jumped classes, remember he was in the Porsche class. There he is right there in the Austin. Puts himself in second position in the GT. So the GT class is heightened up here. It was pretty much a 1 or 2 man race here for the first few races of this series, but now we've got these drivers stepping up to make it a real competition there for those GT2s. Okay, back on track here is Nick Westy trying to get himself on top of pole. His out lap, now he is starting a fresh lap. Let's jump on board with him. Challenging, he's just 0.11 seconds behind Calaviet's 1:24.5. Oh, got a yellow in sector 1. Looks like the 16th place car. Ben Summers with his injured back is off a little bit, but he's managed to keep it on track. You can see how careful they have to be in these turns here. Now, it doesn't look as though Westy's pushing too hard. Let's see what happens down the straight here.
Are we trying to keep his tyre temps down on the outlap so he can go full push?
That's what I was thinking.
on these fast lap, but we are matching the times of practice. 124.5 is pole, and that was pretty much where we were. It is quite close between the top two with Kanzurus. Now he's got a second to find on the rest of the field, so let's see if Nick Westy can possibly put in a quick lap.
It's interesting because you're right. It's showing him as a timed lap, but I don't think this is a time lap on the driver box there. It has him at a 123, 124. He's crossing. And now here it begins. All right, okay. Calvite still at the top. Here comes Jacob Smythe. Get a look at him in another MRG driver along with Randy Marek. And I believe Costas is a MRG as well, is he not?
Yes, I believe they've got 4 members of their team, so they've got everything covered. We did see them nearly come to blows 2 weeks ago. There's no team orders whatsoever.
Right. Yes. I'm interested in where Lars is. Here's Lars. See if he can jump up there. He's green and green. Is he going to move himself up a little bit? Well, he's currently in 6th. Maybe that moved him up from 7th where he was. So
I think we saw this a couple of weeks ago. Lars, I don't think it doesn't push a lot in qualification, and he has to make up for it in the race. So he fought through the field 2 weeks ago. But let's see if we can put in a good lap time to maybe get up in the 2nd or 3rd row.
All right, we have Westy now in the 110R. He is green, purple in sector 1, but yellow in sector 2, but only by 0.3. Let's see if he can move himself. I don't think he's going to jump ahead of Tony on this lap as he just pulls into the pits. A high-speed pit entry. So there you see him giving it up. Where is Costas? Costas yellow in sector 1. So currently
Bill Hagman is putting in a purple sector 2, and he's just about to cross the line.
There is Bjorn purple. Let's see what he does. Oh, nope. He's just ahead of his brother, though. So the Hagmans are 5th and 6th as we see it now. He's on another hot lap. Costas is coming into the pit. Where is Mr. Taylor? So Mr. Taylor challenging for the GT2 class lead with just about 3.5 minutes to go here. He is really pushing that Austin. He's yellow and yellow, though. I don't think this lap is going to do it for him. Bill Brown with that 141. Guys are about a half second plus behind, and he does not improve at all. Freddie Hell's kind of green in sector 2. Let's trying to bump himself up from 8th to 7th. Check over Jacob Smythe, his other MRG teammate, which he does not do, but he did set a personal best there. It looks like a 126.3, so good for him. Meanwhile, Vandergeest coming through in that beautiful green, luxurious Cobra. And he's on an out lap as well, so he's going to start a new fresh lap right here. All right, battling here with a couple minutes to go. Here comes Westy across the line again. Oh, he's on an out lap, so this lap will start. So he's might be his last push here. It's a pretty quick lap here. Almost a minute and a half, 124 for the Protos, if you can call them that, the Porsche. So they might get 2 laps in. Have to see here.
Yeah, I was just watching some of the GTs. You could maybe consider them doing a fast lap. There was a couple of Porsches that were stuck behind Phil Brown when he was doing one of his fast laps. They just had to be really, really patient of when they got past the GTs to start their fast lap. And Phil Brown was going as quick as he possibly could. So there was about a 16-second difference between classes.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
It's very, very difficult.
As we see Robin Taylor now getting passed by 2 of the cars. As he sets the lap, can he do it? He's purple in sector 1. Again, his sector 1 time is really good, and he loses it in the middle. Green in 3, purple in 1, but he lost that 0.3 again in sector 2. As it looks like he's probably parking it for this session. He's going to be happy there with a second place. So the 17th place car, Ben Summers, here comes nursing that bad back. He's got it across the line, and he will probably be happy with that. Ed Jones, who sits out quali, he was just going to start in the back and drive his way through the carnage. He's not worried about where anybody starts. It's all about the finish for him, and he has proven it as he is well up there in the points with his strategy, which is a worthy strategy in sim racing. It seems to be a lot of carnage. All right, this is it. We're in the last 30 seconds here, and the first to come across will be Lars Hagman on his last lap. He's on an out lap. He's got 43 seconds to cross the line to make one count. He's in the 110R. I think he should make it to the line in time to start a time lap to put his bid for pole in. Right behind him is Castus Cantazores. So while he crosses the line, looks like he's got plenty of time, so he's going to start. But let's see. This is a time lap for Costas. Is he going to move himself out of third? He does not. And here comes Tony Talvitier, and he's just started another lap with just under 9 seconds to go. So this is going to be the last lap. Hurrah for these guys. So let's check in with Pichler. As you can see him coming out of the dirt there. He is not on his best lap here for his last run. The time has expired. So this is going to be it for Pichler. Going to have to settle for 4th place, which isn't a bad start here at this track. I think passing is going to be tough among classes. The Porsche class itself to pass, I think it's going to be pretty tough. But of course, flying around the GT2s, pretty easy as long as you got the open grounds. All right, Lars Hagman currently in 6th. He's purple and green, so Lars could actually move himself perhaps in front of his team twin, whatever the heck, team brother mate there in 5th. So Lars trying to better himself. He has a pretty good shot at it here as he's coming around 110R. Hits the line. No, yeah, he jumps Bjorn. So he has jumped his brother, and Talvitier looks like he's purple. The purple is going to set it even a faster lap. Woo, a 124.009 or 3. I'm sorry, 003. So there it is. What a run by Talvitier. Ah, he's quick, he's fast, he's quick and fast. What are you going to do? As you see, Ben Summers finish it up as the flag man waved him along. Very, very cool. All right. It looks like we are set for the starting grid. Set the starting order. Bada boom. There we go. We are ready to go. Okay. Well, Woody, that was quite the session.
Yeah, I was not expecting, rather, the GT class were very close at the top two, so 0.1 between them. And as expected, the top 3 of the Class 1s are exceedingly quick and exceedingly close. So we're looking for a very tight turn 1 and 2, and maybe 3, and maybe 4, etc.
Exactly. This is going to be something to watch, man. This is a tough track for these guys. I did a couple laps in the Porsche, and it was quite difficult in those twisty sections. You know, you can only open it up on those couple of spots on the track where you actually get into 5th gear if you're lucky, and then it's right back into the cornering and handling, trying to get it together. So yeah,
But it looks like normal service is resumed because Tony Talvitier is at the top yet again. He pretty much dominated 2 weeks ago, although when we found out in the interview after the race, it wasn't very easy because he was trying to keep the tyres on his car through the race, and he was hassled by Lars Hagman from start to finish. So even though we had the red flag in the middle, when the race resumed with 30 minutes to go, it was a 30-minute sprint, and Lars Hagman didn't leave him alone until the last lap.
Yeah, that was really, really fun race to watch and fun to broadcast. So hopefully we'll have more of that action today. Well, we got a time here coming up at Sim Racing Online. We've got some great events starting. We've got a couple ending and a couple starting. The AMS2 series comes to an end tomorrow night. The BMW 2002 Turbo series will be ending tomorrow. Monday will be the last round. But in 2 weeks, the next series will be starting, and it will be the Holiday Group C series. So put your helmets on for that one. That's going to be something to behold. And we will feature a 45-minute race at Nordschleife. So we will be on the 7-8 minute lap at the Nordschleife in the winter month. So prepare for that, as well as a few other amazing tracks. Remember, in AMS2, you don't need to own the DLC tracks to race on them. As long as the host owns them, anyone can join and race. So something to behold there. We also have set up with the LMU 2026 Multi-Class Championship is shaping up, and the events have been set. That'll be coming up on the website soon for registrations. Those will be 90-minute races on Sundays starting January 11th with the Le Mans P2 and the GT3 class. So the ELMS P2s and GT3s of all eras. You can use any GT3 you want. So that's something to look forward to in 2026. Also, what else have we got coming up here at Sim Racing Online, I believe? Where's my mouse? Yeah, the Spa P2 class, the LMGT3, is also on Wednesday, November. That is the prep series for the 2026 series, and that will be the P2s at Spa in the rain. And then R Factor 2 Lotus Cortina, a new series starting round 1 Donington. That will start Sunday, November 23rd. So head on over to the site and get a look at what's coming up. We also have AMS2, the Brazilian stock cars coming up. That will be, I believe, round 3 at Hermanas del Rio Honda. A great track for those cars. That is also a very fun track. Some other starts are the round 5 of the VLM Fuji GP. That's on Sundays as well. So lots to do at Sim Racing Online. Give it a look it up, give it a look, and see if there's anything you want to jump on. Remember, the racing's always free, and we get to do some pretty cool stuff. So let's see. We got a couple minutes to go here. 1 minute, 22 seconds as we see Gilles in that amazing Austin. Getting prepared here for this round 4.
It's just seeing Phil Brown come out the last corner, and it looked like one of the Porsches was pushing him to get him going. It was stuck behind him. I'd imagine there couldn't be any bump drafting because the Porsche would probably just scoop it off the floor. But,
yeah, I mean, it is built like a wedge. Yeah,
it's a bit of cheese. That's what it is.
Yeah, there we go. As you see Costas in that nicely painted red, white, and blue. Getting their last couple of practice laps in. I would imagine they filled the tank back up. Now, they have tire selection in this, Woody. They have mediums and hards and softs to choose from.
There is a little bit of a selection. We haven't got them, unfortunately, on screen to show you because of the classes are so far and wide in this mod. But they do have free tire choice. There was a couple of occasions where people have had to take a pit stop, but it's not mandatory. It's completely up to the driver what they do with it. So I imagine they're going to fill the tanks to the top, put their tires on, and hope for the best.
Very good. All right. Well, that is it. The time has expired, and we are ready for the most famous words in sim racing. Originally introduced by Bijan Kamji and the original author of the R Factor 1 code, the spaghetti code that it is, the craziness that has led to where we are today in a lot of the modern sims. You know, a lot of the framework for every sim you race on comes from Bijan's original. There it is. You gotta love that. I absolutely adore that. Okay. So we are set to go.
So we are expecting them to do a formation lap, and they will be going green just when the leader decides to press the accelerator coming out of the last corner. That should maybe make turn 1 a bit easier on these guys because they might be a bit more spread out than they would normally be if it was a standing start. So So you'll hear the lights go green, but they will do a manual formation lap.
Right. Very good. And with that, we're going to have a look at the starting order here. You can see Tony Delvite took that pole, Nick Westy in second, Costas Cantaroras in third. Philip Fischler made it to fourth place. He did have a little bit of a tough time there in quali, but he did manage to get himself fourth. The Hagmans are together fifth and sixth, followed by Jacob Smythe in seventh and Freddie Hale in eighth. Bringing up ninth will be Randy Marek in that corn-fed machine, followed by Michael LaBelle. And then we get to the GT2s led by Phil Brown and Robin Taylor. John Vandergeest right there behind him. And that George Emery in his second appearance here, along with Gilles De Silva in the Austin. Simon Barnes in the Ferrari, followed by Ben Summers and Ed Jones. And that is your starting order. So, there's Mr. Flagman letting everybody know it's safe. Hopefully we don't see him waving a yellow anytime soon. So the race will be starting at the last corner, and we will be racing at Sugo. I'm just glad it's not raining, Woody.
We don't want any more of that. So this is coming up to the 110R. I believe that Tony probably will go as soon as we exit this curve. And off he goes.
In a little puff of tire smoke as they battle their way up. You can see Nick Westy right on him. They head into turn one. He's on the inside. He's going to make the move, and he's going to get that spot. Tony just left right there. Nothing much to do. It looks like they get through with taking the lead. And here come the GT2s, led by Phil Brown and Robin Taylor, as they are starting their lap as they cross that start finish. There we go. Excellent. There is the rear end with Ed Jones and Ben Summers. Very good, very good. All right, back to the top here. Back there is Costas, currently in third. These guys are shaping up to head down the hill here for this first run down the hill. Look at Westy just making some room. That's crazy. Talvitier. But we know with Westy's history and tire degradation that this could be too cold here for him. We want to spend it all in one place. As they make it through. Oh, yellow in sector 2. It looks like we have an off. It's John Vandergeest in the Incredible Hulk machine. Get that thing out there, John. Hopefully he's good to go. Looks like he's all right. Let's check the onboard. His wheel seems straight. Be nice if the damage model would show up. All right, he's made it through. Let's see what's happening. Meanwhile, up to the protos, there is Freddie Hale in that MRG paint job. All the way up. And the Hagman brothers. With Fischler still in fourth. So the Hagmans are right there. Bjorn and Lars. Bjorn in the red, Lars in the yellow, and then Fischler in the blonde. Let's just call it the plain white. Just ahead of him is Costas in the next light, that British colored car. Beautiful. They get through it all. Vandergeest still coming up, bringing up the rear here. He's got to make up some ground now, so that might have cost him a little bit. As Ed Jones and Simon Barnes just ahead of him here. Or push, you can see Jones in that Corvette, that American Muscle Power. You can hear it. Let's give it a listen. That is Ben Summers behind him. Simon
Just
Barnes.
a reminder, Ed Jones did start on the back of the grid, so it is a common tactic from Ed Jones. He's working his way up from the back. But John Van der Geest is catching up with this back of 3 cars, so he should be joining them in very short order.
Yeah, that's good to see. I don't want to be out as they're going sideways. Oh, look at this. The battle of the beasts. As Simon just hangs on. And Emery and Da Silva are just ahead of this group. So this group of 3 about to be 4 as soon as Van der Geest catches them. But meanwhile, we have a battle for the front here. Tony has caught the back of Westy, and it looks like he might be going for it. Coming into this really tight horseback corner. So tough right here. Oh, I thought he was going to lose it. I only said that because every time I tried this track, I lost it right there. Into the grass I went.
Yeah, Nick Westy felt it to vend quite early, and I thought, looking at how late he braked, I didn't think he was actually going to make that corner, but indeed he did. I'm guessing that's how Beatty's tyres are now warmed up.
Yeah, meanwhile, back at this, it is a group of 4 now, led by Ed Jones. And not too far in front. Well, I guess that it's Da Silva and George Emery have quite a gap on this group. Something must have happened to all these guys to separate that much of a gap. You can call it what you want, but it's a big gap. So here is Gilles also being chased by Abed of Emery. And you can see the leaders up in front of him, Taylor and Brown, just ahead of them there. So as these guys come through, next to come through, you can see behind him there, here comes Ed Jones leading that pack. Oh, and Van der Geest is off again. Van der Geest and Summers into the wall. Summers. Nope, somebody's waiting. That's Summers. Who was it? It was Barnes, I'm sorry. Simon in the Ferrari. I got my S's mixed up. Holy smokes. He is not looking too good as the Porsches get through. Oh, and one of the leader Porsches has been hit. Who was that? Was that LaBelle? No, it was Costas. Somebody just hit a GT2. We see who that was? I think it was Freddie Howell. I was going to attempt to make the replays work, but I'm just going to throw the timing off. So I reluctantly didn't do it, but there was definitely, yeah.
The Class 1s have caught the Class 2s as earlier than I thought, but I'm guessing because the rear end of the field I had a few mishaps, so This is going to be tight going now that they're coming up to some of the slower Class 2s, so this might spread the field out a bit.
I think it could have been Freddie Hell that got wound up. And that is Van der Geest is pitting, so probably to repair damage. Where is Simon? Is Simon going to make it? Simon is staying out, so he must not have been hurt too bad. It's good to see. Oh, Van der Geest just did a drive-through. Okay, so this is John Van der Geest obeying the Sim Racing Online rules. He just obviously feels like he was responsible for the crash, so he just did a drive-through, which is regulations at Sim Racing Online. Either if you feel you punt someone or something, just do the drive-through, or risk taking further action after the race with a decision made by the admins. Otherwise, it's all said and done. He's good to go for the rest of the race.
I think that two of them, or both of them, may have felt that they were at fault, because I think both of them done a drive-through.
Okay, good observation. I'm trying to keep my eyes on everybody, but going to focus here on the leaders as Nick Westy still in front of Talviti as they are catching the GT2 class. I believe that was Phil Brown. Oh no, it was Robert Taylor. There is Phil Brown in the other James Bond machine. Meanwhile, Jones in that bet, he's putting the pressure on Da Silva and the other Bond machine. And we got a little bit of a battle here in the Protos are getting through the traffic. You see, it looks like Randy. But up here, these guys have got a little bit of a tight squeeze as they get through the GTs. You can see Philip Fischler getting a little sideways there as they get around with Bjorn, or Lars, excuse me, right on his tail. So if we jump ahead, just ahead, there is Costas in third. And then we have Fischler right behind him in fourth with Lars Hegman right on him. He's going to do battle for that fourth position. And brother Bjorn just back here, a little bit separated by the GT2 class.
So now all the GTs are out of the way. The Porsches can stretch their legs a bit and maybe pull the gaps together. The closest battle on track is between Fischler and Lars Hagman.
Yeah, here they are
his
now.
Brother close behind. But the top two, there's now about 1.4 separating them. So Nick Westy is bringing out a little bit of a gap. Maybe Tony saving some rubber for the last 15-minute sprint. There always seems to be a last dash until the end, just to make things extra dramatic.
Yes. And that's what we like. So meanwhile, at the very back of the pack here is Ben Summers, and he is pretty challenging Simon there. I mean, he's staying right in it there. You get those last points. Remember, the points pay all the way down, so every point is valuable in this. And then meanwhile, Tony looks like he might be having a look here at Nick Westy.
Yeah, fastest lap of the race, 125.2. It's about 0.7
Looking for
lower than the quali time, but obviously letting his tyres cool a bit and maybe sussing out where Nick Westy is maybe a bit slower at certain parts of the circuit. But I think we are seeing the tyre smoke of Nick Westy's car more evident than Tony. Tony's keeping his wheels in line a bit more, it seems.
I agree with everything you just said. Oh, look at this traffic jam. Holy smokes. Once again, this is not going to help. Tony's got it. Oh, but Westy goes off. So, it didn't hurt him too bad.
That was a tough place to meet the GTs at turn 1 and 2. Tony could do nothing about it. The track was absolutely blocked. So that didn't work out for Tony very well. But Nick Westy went off just at the same time. I think he got a bit flustered with the...
Who was that going off in the GT2?
I think that was Ben Summers.
Okay.
Ben Summers getting well out of the way.
Very good. He went off into the dirt there, as I saw, yeah. All right, more traffic as Lars is trying to beat his way through now. I could turn on the cheater bar. See, there's the names if you want to see them. So that was Simon Barnes, definitely. But we don't want to look at those ugly name tags.
So it looks like it's going to be the battle of the Ferraris at the back with Simon Barnes and Ben Summers. Simon Barnes in the red Ferrari and Ben Summers in the silver Ferrari.
It looks like Lars has just got around Fischler. Fischler lost it and put a wheel in the sand, and that allowed Lars to get right around him for fourth place.
Yeah, it looked like he locked the rears coming into that slower section. Obviously, all the downforce coming off that Porsche, and Lars was able to nip up the inside. So I wonder how quickly he can pull a gap on Fischler.
I don't think the downforce is adjustable on these cars, is it not? It's just a fixed, the whole car is like a wing. So there's no, you can't increase the rear wing on these cars, can you?
I don't believe so. Obviously, people that know their stuff about cars will be fiddling with their suspension and their dampers.
Right.
Because you know that it seems like it's a soft mattress every time this car goes over any bumps.
And I only ask that because it seems like Fischler is a lot looser than the other cars, as he's really getting sideways a little bit more than the rest of the gang.
Yeah, well, I'd imagine that you could probably change the rake of the car, so having it the front lower to the ground than the rear, so that it maybe stops on the front a bit more. Yeah, so it isn't too restrictive with setup, but it's just depending on your knowledge and how much testing you've done. But Lars isn't escaping. Fischler is shadowing him until they meet the next GT car, I bet.
And let's jump up a few cars here to this battle for the front, as Tony's just staying in the zip code here. He's keeping within a second or two. The gap is 0.7 to 0.8 as they head to the start finish. Or that's where Westy lost it, but that was due to the traffic, I believe.
And we've got a change of the side-by-side down the main straight between Lars Hagman and Pichler. They got caught up behind John Van der Geest in the last turn.
And Pichler gets it
has
back.
been able to... So lap traffic is playing a part. It just depends where you meet them, doesn't it?
Yes. And now they've got traffic, so here is Del Vitier probably looking for a way to get around. If he doesn't get stuck this time, he was right on him, and he does get through very nicely that time. That was Ed Jones giving way nicely. That was a pretty tight race up to the point where they caught the GT2s. So he was right on his bumper.
I don't think I'd like to be any of these Class 2s. I think the Porsches would appear in your mirror so quickly, and you can do nothing about it if you're in the tighter section. So Porsches have just got to be patient and pick a side and hope that the GTs don't move over.
Right. I mean, the general rule of thumb is hold your line and let the faster car around, but it looks like some of these guys are just trying to get out of the way, which is just like a human nature anyway.
So that battle between Philip Pichler and Lars Hagman in 4th and 5th is now about to become a three-way battle, because his brother, Bjorn Hagman, is sauntering up to the back of the yellow car of Lars Hagman. So a two-way battle is about to come through.
Here is Bjorn now. Down the straight with more GT3 traffic. That's just white knuckle the whole way. And more GT3 ahead. GT2, I'm sorry. Pichler leading the way, coming up on Gilles De Silva in the Austin. Hold your line, Gilles. They're coming through hard. They're coming in hot. And it looks like Bjorn's going to get the sour end of that deal. He gets held up after his challenge. But plenty of time to go here, as we are just 15 minutes in to this 60-minute session.
Yeah, more woes for Simon Barnes. Looks like he spun it around, coming around the end of the lap, so he's falling further behind. He did have a little bit of a nightmare, he said, at Ascari Ronda 2 weeks ago. He did come away with a podium at that point, but it was just because he was able to keep it on the circuit where other people failed. But he's having an absolute nightmare out there today. Yeah,
and he was challenging. He was up just about up to Ben there to challenge for that final spot there, the points paying position of the GT2. Long way to go here as the traffic is showing to be a true challenge here. Meanwhile, just ahead, Talvitier keeping it within a second. Westy, so this is going to be a battle of attrition for the tires, I believe, for these two.
Yeah, just keep the wheels on your wagon. That's the saying.
Indeed. Okay, back to Bjorn. Let's see what it looks like to him. There's the gap to his brother Lars, with Pichler just ahead. Brother's giving him a little bit of dust to drive through. Seems to be able to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, so looking at the circuit layout as well, there is really only two places to pass. The Porsches are making their way. They're being really creative with how they're getting past the lower class cars, I tell you. But having good exit onto the back straight and good exit onto the main straight is, you've got to be right under the rear wing to be side by side up to the next turn. So these GTs and lapping these GTs is proving very, very difficult.
I believe that's Michael Labelle there in the maroon colored Porsche as Tony gets around. Tony got the raw end of another traffic jam situation there, where he was just able to close up and then they hit traffic. Good stuff. Meanwhile, leader of the GT2s.
Yeah, so I was just about to say that actually. the GTs, it's been pretty static at the front. Phil Brown has kept the gap out front to about 2.4 seconds from Robin Taylor. Both of those two cars are in a class of their own. They've pulled out a 26-second lead over George Emery. So they're just leaving the rest of the field to battle over the rest of the places. But those top two could be within reach when we get to the race end.
Right, as we see that battle for fourth, the forces going through the 2 leaders now of the Super 2 class. I don't want to say anything, so I'm going to spell it out. There is NODNF yet. I shouldn't have said it, but I had to say it because it's quite remarkable, actually. So I'm very happy about that. Meanwhile, Telvitier, just giving it a look. Westy proven to be a wary adversary for Telvitier here. Jumped that start. I mean, he jumped him on the start and hasn't looked back. Oh, could be the gap that Tony needs. You can see him getting a little bit sideways there. Wow, and they're about 20 minutes in. Could the tires be coming into play already? Telvitier is the closest he's been in a few laps now without traffic ahead. He's got a clear run down the main straight, or the back straight here, I guess I should say, heading down into Horseback. He's going to have a look. He's going to go to the outside, but he's in the well-worn rubbered part of the track, and Westy defends beautifully, just cutting off that inside.
Yeah, I think Nick Westy has that particular move covered, and Tony has already shown his hand twice. So it's going to have to either push Nick Westy into a mistake, perhaps, or try something a little bit different. But defending that down the back straight, it doesn't look like there's much way through unless you can maybe be a monster on the brakes and head round the outside. But that's going to be very, very difficult.
You can see from that onboard there coming out of that 110R that Westy had a little bit of an advantage. He was early on the throttle and got that little bit of a gap, and now Tony is closing it down a little bit in the turn. So I think it's more of a 2 types of skill rather than a setup issue as they're closing in on Vandergeest, who has got himself up to 6th.
Two different approaches to exactly the same outcome, really.
Yep. As Vandergeest stows out. Oh, don't go around John. Oh, that's most unfortunate for John. He was making up some time. And here comes another proto. Be careful, be careful. Oh, boy. How you doing? Oh. That was Costas, I believe. It's like, get the car out of my way. There we go. Meanwhile, here's the battle for the lead. I smell something happening here, Woody. Got some traffic ahead. Good. Oh, Tony, don't get squeezed out. Woo. Here they go again around 110R. And I can see that Westy just gets that little bit of an advantage on the exit. But each time there's a little bit of a puff of smoke, so I'm thinking this might cost him something as well. As Vandergeest has some traffic here, here comes the Fischler-Hegman battle. Vandergeest stays clear of it. And there's Bjorn will be next to get past the Green Cobra. Loving that car.
Bearing in mind that all the races that we won so far, Tony has taken part in 2 out of 3. And he's won both of the rounds that he's competed in. So, is this just a matter of time?
I'm telling you, the flying Finn, man. He either wins or he cracked it, or he doesn't show up because he has to work. His work schedule is really hectic. So,
but Westy he did win the first round, but unfortunately he had a nightmare at Paul Card in the second, coming 8th. But he was on the podium 2 weeks ago, so it's more than. I think it's just going to be between these two unless something happens. Hopefully nothing happens.
Right.
But I'm not going to give them the commentator's curse, but it's all being about where they catch the GTs and getting the run in the right place on the track. But as I say, Tony has shown his hand up to turn 1, and on the back straight.
Oh, he's off there,
he's
but
got to try something a little bit different.
saved his bacon right there, didn't he? Did a little hedge trimming for the grounds crew.
But I did see on the standings not too far back, Robin Taylor did drop back a little far from the leader for Brown in Class 2. He did have a little bit of an off, so he's now dropped back to 10 seconds behind the leader. So Phil Brown just has to pace himself with just under 38 minutes to go. So there's still a long way to go in this race, and the top two in Class 1 are still going at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and on that GT2 class, Robin still has about 15 seconds on George Emery for third, so he has no challenge. Robin's just got to hit his marks and hope for Phil Brown to have some sort of an incident. I don't think he can catch him otherwise. And the leaders are going through traffic again.
So it looks like they caught the GT in the right place there, so Nick Wesley was able to keep it pinned. And if you look at the cars coming out that final turn, I don't know if they were on the throttle. I'm looking at the traces. It does look they are just hanging on to that car through that final bumpy section. But it looks right on the edge. If you get slightly offline, those bumps look like they could cause a bit of an issue later on in the race.
We can see Pichler has got himself about an 8-second gap now, or a 4-second gap, I'm sorry, on Lars. He's 8 seconds back of Costas for third.
Now, I know we said there wasn't any team orders between MRG, but do you reckon there's any team orders between Twin Speed, the brothers?
I don't think so. As Westy's going through traffic here, the leaders are going through, but they're coming down that back straight.
I'm noticing as well that a lot of these corners, they're not they're not banked, rather. A lot of them seem to fall away from you. So that's proving a little bit difficult for these Porsches to keep them on the circuit. But the circuit has rubbered up visually very, very quickly, and I'm sure that's going to help. But as we said in the pre-race, the weather is going to get a bit cloudy later on. So part way through this race, the temperature is going to suddenly drop, and maybe the grip is going to be even worse. So we might see these cars slipping about a bit more, which is going to make it even more entertaining.
Yes, the total elevation change is about 6970 meters, or 229.1 foot per lap of elevation change here at Sugo. And we were talking about these short straights and places to pass. I mean, the total length of the track is 2.3 miles, 3.7 kilometers, and the straight is only 704 meters, or 2,310 feet or so is the longest straight. So not a lot of room for these guys. Tony's having a look.
It seems to be a characteristic of the Japanese or the tracks that are famous from Japan, like Suzuka. They all have a very similar kinds of layout. The elevation change is always a big thing, and the corners which kind of swoop like the 110R, and it looks like Nick Wesley was a little bit wide on the final turn.
Yes.
A bit offline. Tony's got a bit of a run.
Yep. He stayed with him that time. Usually right there is where Wesley pulls away. He's going to get to the draft on this short straight. And he's going to the outside to try and outbrake him, but no contact. Smoky tires. He's trying to do the switcheroo, the over-under, but he can't pull it off as Wesley's defending beautifully there. Keeps his car just in the right spot to foil any effort by Tony to try and get that over-under to work. But he did have an opportunity there, and he's staying with him. So this could be the lap. There is nothing up until they get to the car of Jean Vandergeest, will be the next GT that'll be in the way, so to say. And he's heading down the back straight as we speak. So
Yeah, so it looked like Nick Westy just got on the throttle maybe a little earlier because he knew that Tony was right up his rear end. So that made the car a little bit offline. He's locked up his tyres coming into these final couple of turns. And it looks like he's a wounded animal here. So has he burnt up his tyres too early?
I'm telling you. Let's see if I can get that cool rear end view. There we go. There is Tony. I want it with the wing. Oh, there's the overhead. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm looking at the throttle traces. They are flat to the floor in that final corner, but it looks so unstable. So now we get into lapping some of the Corvettes who are mid-battle here. It just depends where they're going to catch them. Nick Westy gets through that Corvette of Ed Jones.
Yeah, Tony had good
And
luck
he's
there,
able to
but the
get through the
Ferrari.
Ferrari.
The Ferrari leaves him room on the inside, so that was nicely done by the GT2 class to let these faster Porsches through. It's got to be a stressful race. This is definitely a code brown for the GT2s.
Exactly. I think Nick Westy seems to be a bit more confident when he makes passes for the through the GTs, and Tony is maybe erring on the side of caution. He knows that he's well up in the championship. He needs all the points he can get if he's to chase down the leaders. Not scoring in round one has really hurt championship car losses, but as he spoke to me before, he said, I just want to win. He doesn't really... Championships are not really his thing. He wants to win every time he competes. So it's either win it or win it.
Yeah. As we're on board with John Vanderkees, who has made his way back right to the tail end of Ed Jones, who is a one-lap car. I think that in the Ferrari is that Simon Barnes, who is down a lap. So, let him through. Because John is actually racing the Corvette up there. He's trying to catch Ed Jones. After his drive-through and everything, to be right there a second or so behind, that's good driving by John Vanderkees. Meanwhile, back to
Randy Marek is caught behind two GTs. He doesn't know where to go. They came side by side at that final corner, and Randy Marek was going, I just want to get through.
Right. All right, Tony's having to go here. He takes another look. He is just relentlessly applying pressure to Westy. And like you said, Neil, I think these tires are starting to get a little buttery on both cars.
Feels the need to go defensive.
Look at this.
And that GT's
We're
going to
going
come
three wide.
into play.
Oh, Tony's got a nose in front, and he's on the outside, though, and Westy's burning up what's left of his right rear. Holy smokes, and Talvitier is ruthless at this point in time. He's coming through. It's no balls, no glory. He is going for it.
Just gently applying the pressure. It's got to be visible in the rearview mirrors at completely the wrong time, and hopefully putting Nick Westy off, making him go wide and run these corners. So again, smoking the tyres.
And he's putting it in the grass. This could be it. Yes, Talvitier gently applying pressure with his sledgehammer, and he's completely content to go to the outside and force Westy to the inside. He's going to the overrunner. He looks like he might have it this time. Douglas enters contact. Oh, what a save. That just saved Tony's race. Oh, I could see that thing going around and into the wall, and bye-bye Tony. But no, he's managed to keep it alive. What a race.
That was a good effort. I think we could all see what he was doing or what it was setting up. It was the switchback, but it looked like Nick Westy just had his nose in front. He could close the door, but very, very brutal racing. So again, he's shown his hand.
Yep.
He's got to try something a bit different.
Woo, I can't believe they survived that. I'm so happy because that would be sad. Meanwhile, just behind him, the Pichler battle. Here is Lars and Pichler. They're fighting as well. But let's get back to this battle for the lead because Tony is pouring it on here. And you can see Westy burning up his tires in defense, it would seem. right there, 110R back up the straightaway. This is where Westy, see how he gets that little bit of a jump. He's early on the throttle. And that could be burning his tires up quicker than Tony. We have a little bit more rubber left. But he seems to establish himself again there. But Tony's, look at, this is the spot. If it's going to happen, I think that's where it's going to happen. Like you mentioned earlier, there's only a few places to pass here. Oh, they're catching up to the second place car of Robin Taylor, who's just ahead of him there in the Austin.
Yeah, fun fact, Robin Taylor is actually the teammate of Nick Westy, so is team orders going to be involved here?
Yeah, when I go by, get in front of him. So it's like, well, it doesn't seem to be doing him any favors right there.
Put them in the right place though.
Yes.
The GT was staying on line because they can't go too wide through there. They would slip off the circuit. So Tony's left just the amount of space on the outside, but it is really pushing Nick Westy's tires to the absolute limit. Every time he locks those
Westy's
tires,
off.
and he's off.
This is it. This is going to. Oh, and he still maintains and is able to keep Tony back. How did he pull that up? I don't know. But both these guys are doing some spectacular saves. Talk about Code Brown. That was it for sure in the definitions. Good heavens. Meanwhile, not to step away.
Momentum going off on the dirt there, and I thought it was all over.
While they've got a little bit of a gap, Vandergeest has gotten around John. Vandergeest taking over 5th place. Brilliant run after that drive-through, so good on him. Good job as Tony going back to this battle for the lead. And just behind them, the battle for 4th. Fischler and Hagman is going on. As they've got the traffic. Oh, Tony got it all wrong. What did he do there? I can't see what happened to him. It's as if he just kind of like said, okay, maybe he lost the rear and he had to just get out of it. It seems to be what happened. Because catching up to the Austin, was that Phil Brown that was right ahead of him there?
That's 12th place.
Yeah.
11th place is just behind, so maybe he got caught over one of the GTs and got the miscommunication and ended up going off. But he's got now a 5-second gap to now catch up. So Nick Westy can breathe a little, but meanwhile the battle for 4th and 5th is heating up.
Yes, these guys are battling. And Tony has 25 minutes just to make it up. And with the tire degradation playing as a factor, I mean, this is only going to obviously help Westy out, relieving the pressure, but what damage was done already to those tires. Meanwhile, Ed Jones now in 6th, Vandergeest just ahead in 5th. Phil Brown leading that GT class by some 12 seconds now over Taylor. Taylor's got a huge gap of 20 plus over Emery. And Emery is some 18 over Gilles. So these guys are really spread out as far as GT2, with the exception of Jones and Vandergeest. But John seems to be increasing that gap in 3 seconds now. And of course, John has been known to miss a turn or two in this race. So as the Protos come charging through.
Yeah, he probably doesn't like us mentioning it, but
No.
in the last series we did. His brakes exploded, so he's not had the best of luck in some of the races he's done. The post-race interviews, he's fully admitted that he's lost concentration at certain points, because these are quite long races, particularly with the pressure of, if you're in the class 2s, you're having the constant pressure of being set upon by these class 1s.
Yes. We're on with Randy Marek here. Get a good look at his skin there. So it's a different skin this week. We still got the Castaway on there, but I don't see the no corn cobs today, but still the Castaway lives on. The MRG team captain, I would say. So meanwhile, Lars trying to catch Pichler, who's put up a brilliant defense, as we know. Somehow maintained, but let's not forget about Talvitier, who's free to run those fast. Remember, he did take pole. He was the fastest car on track, and I think he still is. He's proven it right now as he's got it back to under just about 2 seconds behind as Westy hits traffic. And maybe Westy was just trying to save his tires, as he deeply knows that he has worn his tires.
Yeah, just look at the last lap times of the leader. He did a 1:29, so I don't know whether he got caught up with some traffic in that last lap. And Tony's now within a second again, because he put in a 1:26.9. So something's happened to the leader that we did not see. And the battle is going to be resumed in a couple of laps' time. Yeah,
he was 3 seconds off his pace, was Westy, on that last lap. And I think you're right. He probably caught traffic, and maybe he just grabbed a towel and wiped the sweat off his face and took a breather there after that 5 or 6 lap battle that Tony laid upon him. So there we go. It seems like we're back to where we were now. Tony is right there with him again. Or maybe he just got bored and said, hey, I'm going to wait for him. I highly doubt it.
So remember that we're competing for the World Series this time. So the aggregate of 4 completely different series. So they've been through the Indy cars, they've been through the P2s and GTEs. They were doing Formula 1 cars a few weeks ago, and now they're in the sports cars. So Nick Westy maybe has to think of World Series points as well, because even second place would be a good result. He's second in the World Series at the moment, and he still needs to catch, I believe is it Phil Brown? No, it's Philip Pichler that he has to catch. He's got a few points to catch up. So is he thinking big picture, or is he just thinking this race?
Phew, well, now that we've caught our breath, here we go again. The battle for the lead continues.
Again, Nick Westy is wide in that final turn. I don't know if that's his particular purposeful line, but he does look like he's slowing on the exit, and the GT is in the way of where he wants to go.
Oh. Look at this. Talvitier's got a nose on him. He's actually ahead, but he's on the outside, and they're going to hit again.
Oh, no.
Not again. Just a little up tap.
It did look like Nick Westy was on the edge of braking. He's actually going to wait for Tony, it looks like. That's very sportsmanlike driving, I think.
And that was Jacob Smythe trying to desperately get out of the way. Very good driving by Smythe in that.
Suddenly seeing the leaders come up upon him at the quick rate of knots. I can't do anything.
Right. And Westy's teammate from Black Cat is now down in the GT2, Robin Traylor, so he has no help on track.
Yeah, we haven't seen Robin Taylor for a little while. He did take part in the first round. As we see the battle for the lead, he's going to the outside again on this turn, but he's braking very, very late.
Oh, this is going to do it. There he goes. Tony has got the note. He's got it. Tony has finally done it in Sector 1, going through the terrible twisties, as I call them. Or is that just where Sector 2 ends and Sector 3 began?
We could see that coming.
Yes.
It was always where Tony was putting the pressure on, and he was always putting the screws to Nick Westy in the right place. Made him lock up.
Yes.
Completely went straight on and just left a gap for Tony to say thank you very much.
So with 19 minutes remaining, the pole sitter has retaken the lead. It only took him 40 minutes to get that spot back with some good battling, but let's see if he can now run away from Westy, as he did catch him after that gap was created. It's clear sailing for Talvitier now. All he's got to do is hit his marks. Meanwhile, Vandergeest has given the spot back to Jones in the GT2 class.
Yeah, two noisy GT cars, the Shelby Cobra and the Corvette C2. A perfect match for each other in sonically matched.
Freddie Hell was getting through them in the Porsche, but yeah. Vandergeest is able to do with the vet here. Oh, and there it goes. And he gets it back as Jones has a terrible incident where he loses the rear and just pops his front end into the wall. I believe he doesn't have to worry about Summers. As long as he gets back on track, he's got about 80 seconds on the next position, which is Ben Summers. So let's see, did that hurt him at all? It looks like his steering wheel is pretty straight, but he did just bump into the front there gently, so hopefully he's okay. Meanwhile, 1.2 seconds is the gap to the lead now from Westy. And just like the first 5 minutes of the race, the mid-pack 4th, 5th, and 6th are bunching up again here for having a photo finish here for 4th place. The Fischler holding that position now with Lars and Bjorn, the Hegmans, in tow. And there they are right there, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Meanwhile, Costas Cantazares, we haven't talked about him too much. He's just comfortably having a beautiful drive in 3rd place. Just a nice Japanese Cour, making his round, holding on to that 3rd place. It's going to be a good outcome for him if he can just hang on. But it looks like Simon Barnes getting out of the way for everyone there. These guys have bunched it up.
So remember that in the championship table as well, Bjorn Hagman actually... as Lars has gone around.
And he's gone around again. Oh, he's in trouble. He's going to spin it in the grass. Here comes the... there's Simon Barnes getting through. So, wow. Lars just took himself out. Freddie Hill will be next. He's some 15 seconds back of him, though. But Bjorn and Philip will carry on here and could have battled for this 4th place. But it was actually...
The weather has got to its coldest, so now we've got an air temperature of about 22 degrees. So the clouds have come over and it's now as cold as it's going to get. So we've got 15 minutes of a colder air temperature. I wonder whether it's actually going to make a difference, but that's unfortunate for Lars going around 2nd in the championship as well at the moment. But I think his brother just missed him. He was able to... He was only like 2 seconds back when, unfortunately, he'd gone around and he was straddling the track. So well avoided by Bjorn because he's got to keep his championship points up. There may be a change of a lead at the end of this race, but I'll have to do some quick maths. But lots of action still to go.
Think that now you would think the colder temperatures, the track temperatures, would help the tire degradation, but it looks to me as if these guys are sliding even more. But of course, nobody's pitted for tires. Oh, we got a little bit of a contact here. Let him through, let him through. Is that Westy and Vandergeest? Now let's see. Vandergeest and Tony Talvite are also teammates with GEAR. So, yeah.
Are you saying there's some controversy, Rob?
No, I'm just mixing it up to get a little bit of drama for the broadcast. I'm sure nothing's going on. Nothing to see here.
Oh, Tony's off.
Tony's off? Oh, he is off. With Gilles, another gear member, in tow. So now maybe Gilles will throw the block. I mean, we'll get out of Westy's way.
I think Nick Westy caught John at the most inopportune corner because the GTs can't change their line once they are going around that corner. The Porsches can maybe take a little bit of a different line, but John just had to keep going where he was going on the racing line. Just unfortunate.
Crazy business. Meanwhile, here is Smythe getting around. So, whew, we are just about, just under 14 minutes remaining. And it's spread out as they are. It's still quite intense with the traffic. You got blue flags flying as Fischler gets through one of the GT2s. So after the off, though, Talvite's gap is still 3.9, almost 4 seconds on Westy. So Westy could be feeling the effects of all that tire degradation.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see whether Bjorn now dropped at 6.5 seconds behind Philip Ischler. He's got a little bit of a gap to work out, but the as we were saying about the track temperature or the air temperature has dropped. The lap times have gone from 124s and 5s to 127s and 128, so they are struggling out there.
Yeah, so this could have to do with tires too, but of course the lighter load with the fuel burn too could come into play. You would think they would be quicker, but with tire degradation and temperature. It seems traffic might play out here for Westy as Calvitier gets through, and now Westy gets through. He did close it down to under 2 seconds though from a 3-second gap, so he made up a second and a half there with traffic. So it's anybody's ball game still. They're going to have to pass these guys a few more times with 12 minutes remaining.
And maybe those slower laps for Nick Westy has cooled his tyres down a little, so maybe he's got a little bit more of a handle on the car. But a little mistake from Tony shows there's a little chink in the armour. So we'll have to see whether Nick Westy can move up to the back, and it's going to be battle resumed, but the places are going to be the other way around.
Tony just having a slight edge, I think, on lap times. He does have the best lap of the race still, the 125.2 versus 125.7 is Westy's best lap. So that half a second difference. But that means nothing at this point in the race when it's tires and fuel is low and yeah, traffic. So many things coming into play here.
So talking about Class 2 at this point in time, while there's a bit of a lull in the Class 1 action, it stayed pretty static for most of the race, although we've seen John van der Geest going up and down the field. He's now in, I believe, at 5th place at the moment in class. But Phil Brown is doing what he needs to do out in front of the Class 2s. He's going to extend his championship lead. Unfortunately, Ben Summers may drop down the order because he is last but one on the road, but suffering with some unfortunate back issues. Is probably proving to be very difficult with a direct drive wheel. But we'll see. Points are points at the end of the day. If you finish, you get points. So staying on track at least till the end of the race, you never know what can happen, as we've seen in the latter stages. But just over 10 minutes to go.
As Tony puts another lap on Michael Lebel. As the gap is just about back up to 3 seconds again for Calvitier. And Van der Geest is going to put the challenge on teammate Hill. It's the Cobra versus the Austin here. And there is Lars trying to make his way back through. So Lars holding on to 6th place for that unfortunate incident. He's gosh, what is he, 20 seconds back of his brother now? But Van der Geest is going to give Gilles a run here.
It does look like John van der Geest does have a lap time advantage. He's about 2 seconds a lap faster than Gilles. It just depends where on the track he's faster. That Cobra power, even though these cars are got to match each other, the Cobra power should be no match for the, or should be a perfect match for the Aston, but at least in decibels, I suppose. But John's got to be very canny with passing Gilles.
Looks like he's going to make an attempt here. Gilles got that Bond car, can he have a smoke screen out or something, or fire some rockets at him? I would love to see that.
Yeah, I don't think the ejector seat is actually going to work, but, you know.
Oh, Van der Geest is all over him now. You see the fuel intake on the Austin there in the back, coming up through the back window. That's how it refuels. Pretty cool
You'll
stuff.
definitely be able to hear the Shelby Cobra coming from miles and miles away. As Gilles does run a little bit wide. He's struggling a lot with. I think they're all struggling with tyre wear at this point. They're just trying to keep it on the circuit.
Right, we are under 10 minutes. And then it goes off. Oh, Sean, he's done it again. Oh my heavens to Betsy. So Jill can breathe a breath of relief. And how far back is Jones? Is now 10 seconds back of Vandergeest. Did John do damage to his car? Let's check the steering. He's back on it. Is that Phil Brown ahead of him? A lap ahead now? Or is that the other Austin of Ben?
We do have our first DNF. It looks like Randy Marek has unfortunately come to a stop.
Randy. No, Randy, no. Oh,
I
what a
don't know if it
bummer.
was because of an accident or, but that is our first DNF.
And Michael Labella said, hey, made it to the at least past with 10 to go mark. You've DNF'd at about 7.5 minutes, so. Oh, good job hanging in there, Randy.
So that's good going for 7 minutes to go. That's the majority of the race. We did have most of our DNFs 2 weeks ago before half distance, so that's good going from these guys, considering how tight the circuit has been for lapping cars.
I saw that car going off, and was that not the leader of GT2? The gap now is only 15 seconds on Taylor. And I saw an Austin going off into the dirt, and it might have been Phil. Let's see.
If it was a white one, then perhaps.
Yeah.
But that gap has closed quite significantly.
We will be able to tell when the lap times come across. As soon as he crosses the line, that should be a relatively slow lap, as we are back with the Porsche leader, Tone Televitier, who has got that 3-second gap and holding.
So Phil Brown and Robin Taylor are quite well matched in time. They are gapping each other at a 1:43 range, so we'll see when it looks like Phil Brown's about to cross the line, so we'll see if,
it was
if
a
there's
white
any particular problem. I believe it's the only white car in that GT class, so yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
147.1, so yeah, he must
that
have had
was
an
him.
off. And it's cut the gap in half, it looks like. But
And it looks
Robin
like
Taylor, don't know if he has the pace advantage. But we'll
Emery
see.
coming out of the pits with Vandergeest. And Vandergeest takes over third after nosing it in a few laps back, doing a drive-through, chasing down Jones, who also nosed it in. Vandergeest finds himself in third with 5 minutes to go.
So
Excellent.
Jules De Silva is in the pits. He's finally decided to get rid of those tyres. I think the GTs have suffered enough. Some people are deciding that it's best just to get to the end.
Yeah.
They're probably running on rims, perhaps.
And that could be the case with George Emery. If he did indeed change tires, he might have an advantage on Vandergeest. They are almost a lap down from Phil and Robin, though. But the podium is up for grabs here for the last few laps to go. Meanwhile,
yeah, I think John must be surprising himself back to third. That's an amazing drive from where he started.
Let's not talk about John. We know what's happened in the past. We know what
We've
it
only
takes.
got 4 minutes of.
We're right in his time signature to when things go wrong, as Pichler's trying to get around him now. Oh, good heavens, these things just keep bending and twisting and sliding. Crazy business.
So John purposely took a demotion to fill up the GT class, which means he still has his points from the Class 1, which go towards the World Series, but unfortunately he starts from 0 in the GT2s, I believe.
Right.
So,
well, you bring
am
up
I right in that?
This is an interesting question, because I had to ask myself this. It's almost like we're having two races here, because first place points are the same for each class. So you could be in the World Series, win the GT2 class, versus coming in fifth in the Porsche class and get as many points as the winner of the Porsche class, which is going to help your right? It's going to help
Yeah,
your World
yeah.
Series points. So
There has been a change between 4th and 5th. Bjorn Hagman has finally got past Fischler,
and Fischler's
who
gone around.
unfortunately was right up his rear coming into turn. I think that's turn. Can't think what turn that is. Near the end of the course.
And then
in the third sector.
Look at the gaggle behind him of the GT2s. Wow, that was really unfortunate for Philip. It's put in such a great race here with just under 3 minutes to go, and to give up that spot, that's got to be heart-wrenching.
But those three have been swapping places. Bjorn Hagman was at the back of that group near the start of the race, and he's been very, very patient, nearly colliding with his brother as he span, and he's now out in front of that group, as it were.
Right.
Patience is the virtue.
So Talvitie's got 10 seconds on Westy now. But Westy's only got 6 on Costas. So Costas, there's the gap to second place. With the car of Michael Labelle there. Just, well, hello. Well, let's get out of the way. It's just, what was going on there? That's not going to help Costas's chances. He was really closing that gap. He's got it down to 6 seconds on Westy, but that's not going to help any. That was kind of interesting what happened there with Labelle. I mean, obviously saw Labelle was slowed down. All he had to do was pull to the left to go around him, and he just kind of ran right into him. Interesting. Anyway, second racing. All right, I'm looking. Everybody's kind of spread out at this point in time. De Silva's still in the pits, which is a bad sign for Gilles. He's been in there for far too long, unless he's making himself a sandwich or something.
So the closest battle on track is in GTs at the moment. I wonder whether George Emery can catch John Van der Geest.
Yeah.
He's only 1.6 seconds behind, so it's Cobra versus Corvette.
Two of the loudest cars on the circuit.
No, we are under a minute left of the race, so where is the leader on track?
40 seconds. 40 seconds. Westy.
This should be the final lap.
It could be it. He's got 30 seconds to get across the line to start another lap, and he is in that one. Who else went off? Somebody else is off. Oh, it's Simon Barnes.
That's Simon Barnes.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. 17,
Is he going to do
16,
an extra lap?
15. I think we're going to get one more with the speed of Tony's going to hit it before the clock runs out. And this will be, white flag is out. Last lap, everybody. Last lap. Here we go. There is Westy now coming up. So that gap is about 12 seconds. The gap to Costas is only 5 now, as he's struggling for third. And here comes Bjorn. You can see it's a good 30 seconds back. So what's going on with Van der Geest and Emery as they're sandwiched now? Is that Costas in between them? Nope.
I think that's Scythe there in the course, just overtaking John Van der Geest.
Or was it Freddie? Hard to say. Yeah, it was Freddie Howell.
Oh no.
All right.
Yeah, Freddie Howell.
All right. So it's making it tough on Emery, but what a great race for Emery to be his first run here in the GT2. He's going to have a great finish. That 4th place, unless he can catch John on those worn tires. He's got that gap down to under a second now. Meanwhile, here is
Tony's
your
just
leader.
coming through the final turn.
Yep, with the leader of the GT2, so they're going to finish right behind each other. And Van der Geest has given it away. Van der Geest has given it away to Emery as Talvitie is getting ready to cross the line. Here is your winner for the Porsche class. Round 4 has been taken by Tony Talvitie. What a great battle. Nick Westy coming in second.
Is he out of fuel?
There we go. Are we talking about Van der Geest?
John Van der Geest, John Van der Geest looked like he was slowing over the line. Either that or he was just very annoyed with himself giving up that position in the final blast.
I'm really bummed we looked away for that final second to miss that pass, but he has finished third. Great job by George Emery. There is your leaders. Let's see. We've got some guys still bringing it down. Here comes Fischler. Fourth was Bjorn. He's already crossed. Here comes Fischler up the hill to finish in fifth. And Lars with the off will be in sixth. Wow, Woody, what a race. That's crazy.
I'm just going to do some maths now. This is going to shake the championship up, I think.
Yes, and here comes Jacob Smythe across the line. I believe that's everybody. Indeed, Freddie Hell. They are all done. What a show. Woo! That was crazy business. Good stuff, man. Crazy. All right. With that said, here are your session results. Round 4 at Sugo, taken by Tony Talbitier. Second place is Nick Westy. 44 laps complete. Costas Contadores with that drive in the park for third. Bjorn Hegman inherits fourth place. At the end there, Philip Pitchler in fifth. Lars Hegman in sixth. Freddie Held in seventh. Jacob Smythe in eighth. And ninth place is Michael LaBelle. We also had Randy Marek finishing as the DNF. Take up that last position on the Porsches. And then into the GTs, we got Robin Taylor in second. The race was won by Phil Brown. Taylor in second. George Emery on that last lap pass on John Vandergeest for third. Vandergeest finishing fourth. Ed Jones in fifth. Gilles De Silva in sixth. And Simon Barnes seventh. Ben Sumner's, in seventh, and Simon Barnes in eighth. We have one more page to look at here. That's what the problem is.
Channel switch.
That's it. That's it. Okay. Hello. Hello.
So I do have the points.
We're in the echo chamber.
John, can you turn the speakers off?
User left your channel.
There we go. He's gonna come back in when he's got his speakers on.
That was amazing.
So provisional points for the championship class ones. You'll be pleased to note it has tightened right up. Bjorn Hagman still leads with 132, but Nick Westy is got 131. So the championship is within 1 point for class 1. Lars Hagman in third with 123. Tony Talbitier now moves up to fourth in the championship with that third win of the season, and Philip Pischler is now on 117 in fifth. Class 2. Phil Brown, sorry, Rob. Class 2, Phil Brown extends his lead with 140 points. Gilles De Silva is now in second. Ben Summers has now dropped down to third place, but only 113 points to 112. So it's tight for second place in Class 2, with Simon Barnes with 109 in fourth, and Jones in fifth with 101. So very, very close, Rob.
Yes, that does tighten things up nicely. So that could lead us up into the next round, which let's see if I can bring up the schedule here. And let's see, hold your eyes, everybody. This should be fixed now. As you can see, bada bing. There we have it. Oh, sorry, the server's loading. Good heavens, what's going on? Yeah.
So fifth round, we are heading to Fuji Speedway.
There's John. So he's got echo chamber on. Remember, I was playing a replay, and then in the server crash, or restart. Anyway, we've
got
the sound messed up.
Somebody's got speakers on in a team speak.
It's creating a double
echo.
And I can't hear him either. So welcome to technical difficulties,
everybody.
It looks like the
driver reports
are going to
be postponed.
User disconnected from your channel.
There we go. So there we have what's coming next week or in 2 weeks. We've gone blank, everybody.
Sorry, Fuji Speedway in
Yes.
2 weeks' time. It's the 1993 layout, so it has some of the older chicanes in it, but it should be a proper endurance track. None of these club tracks that we've had recently. So proper sports cars around a proper sports car track, and we are still in Japan as well.
Right. Well, we shall have some sushi and see if we can find some blooming cherry trees. And until then, it's going to be a 2 weeks wait to see what goes on. And I hope you guys can join us for the next round, as Woody is going to be crunching some numbers, and we will have all those stats available for you as we come back in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us. It's been grand. It's been fun. And we look forward to the next one. And that's it for here. And we are out. So we will see you next time.